listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text our show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, email the show via the Absolute Radio website, don't you know?
all
I love
info.
Don't You Know?
Yes, well, my son says, did you know, quite a lot.
Well, I think it was quite P.G. Woodhouse, that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I've tried many times P.G. Woodhouse, having been recommended by loads of people of how brilliant he is. And
All right.
Not feeling it?
I don't like it. But, you know, can't all be... I'll tell you what I did like. I went to see Blade Runner 2049.
Oh,
Did you?
I can't go and see that. I haven't seen the first 2048.
Wow,
Oh, wow.
wow. That's not like Frank to be so early out the traps. I
Yeah.
suspect you to go and see that in 2053.
Well, I like a sci-fi classic. I like the first one a lot. Yeah, have you seen the first one, Al?
I think so. I can't really remember it.
You're a bit of a Blade avoider.
Am I?
I suppose you could be described like that.
Could I?
With your crazy hipster beard.
Well, that has a relevance to me watching films.
Well, it's got the Blade reference. I work with anything I
I
can
see.
get.
Right, yeah.
We've got 3 hours to fill, for
I get it,
goodness
yeah. I
sake.
get it, yeah.
Can I be honest?
Give me a break.
I've never seen it, Frank,
Okay,
which is unusual for me, just because I like to keep on top of my culture.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
But I'm not a sci-fi fan, and when
No.
it came out, I only liked Dallas. That was the only thing I watched, and it looked as far from Dallas as the show could be.
Yeah. Well,
What's it like?
it's a bit post-nuclear Dallas.
Okay.
No, well, the first one was Magnifico. I saw it. I remember the last time I saw it was in the sort of town centre in Toronto. They put up a big outdoor screen, so there was real sort of flashing signs and aeroplanes flying over. So the film merged. Oh, it's like
That
I
sounds
saw.
good.
I went to an outdoor film in Melbourne Arboretum, I think it was, botanical garden type place. And we saw, what's that Burt Lancaster one where they're on the beach when there's fish?
From Here to Eternity.
From Here to Eternity. And there was loads of bats flying about as we watched it. And I was really miffed that we weren't watching a Batman film. It would have been
Right.
so
Was Commissioner
perfect.
Gordon there?
There was no fish there at all,
That's
which is what you wanted. Anyway, I meander.
Blade Runner. Is it a dystopian thriller? Is that what we're talking?
Oh, yeah, it's a psychological dystopian thriller, I would
Because
say.
I've got a developing palate for that, so maybe I should give it a rewatch.
I think you'd like it.
Okay.
It doesn't zip along, I would say.
The new
but,
one.
No, but it's brilliant. Anyway, David Baddiel phoned me up and said I got tickets for Blade Runner. He didn't even put the 2049 on, I guessed.
Right.
Yeah.
So he got me
Freebies?
yeah.
Lovely.
So he's
Nice.
yeah. So we went to the cinema, and we left it a bit late, and it was unreserved seating.
All right.
I mean, come
Bit
on.
of a scrum.
So there was about.
I'm surprised they don't just have a nice Chesterfield for you both down at the front.
Yeah,
That's how I imagine
facing the audience.
Yeah, you have that wherever you go, you two.
So we ended up sitting him in the centre of one block and me on the end of another block.
No.
Yeah.
You weren't together?
No.
I wouldn't watch the film.
Good seats for the
If I couldn't
long-legged
sit,
those.
if I went with Daisy and I couldn't sit with her, forget about it.
Really? But you don't talk during the film, presumably.
Oh, hello, yes I do.
How do you?
Well, I don't talk, but I might say, what do you think of that, Days?
Oh, I
You have
never-
a share a toffee fee.
I never say anything. Can you still get those?
Yeah.
Toffee fees?
Yeah.
Wow. So anyway, he was sitting quite a long way away from me, probably,
Over the aisle.
Horrible evening.
I'd say 30 yards.
Oh, my goodness.
And anyway, the bloke next to me said, actually, my mate's coming, he's going, this seat's vacant now, he said to me.
Oh, muzzle toff.
So I stood up and went, Dave. Nothing. I said, Dave. Still nothing. So I honestly, in a crowded cinema, this was the Cineworld Leicester Square, I went, Dave. Anyway, he looked round and I said,
He looked up.
I said, this seat is free now. And he waved his hand like somebody refusing an hors d'oeuvre. And he just stayed put.
You are joking me.
So a woman then came up to me and said, "So can I have this seat for my friend?" I said, "Yeah, I think so." I said, I'm not using it." She said, "No." She said, "I just heard you publicly snubbed in front of 400 people."
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So did David ever come and sit with you? Or did
No.
You are joking.
No, he didn't.
Was there any post-film chat discussing this?
Well, I got a text from him. I didn't get it till the end of the film, but he might have sent it.
Oh,
And he
right.
said,
What did it say?
He said, "I don't want to make all these people stand up again."
Right.
But I think that's part of being in rake seating, isn't it? Standing up. You know, when you're at the theatre, people say, sorry.
Yeah.
Well, what are you going to do? You're going to be lowered in by a seaside claw? You know, the seaside claw that nearly picks up the cuddly toy and then drops it at the last minute.
Never does.
I wouldn't want to be picked up by one of them.
The delicacy of the tentacles of the claw sometimes.
All the wiring on the top of it and all that. It's a fabulous piece of equipment that deliberately doesn't work, I suppose.
Yeah. I think so.
I don't think I've ever got anything down the chute with a seaside claw.
How do you do on that? You know the 2Ps one? You know the
Well,
one.
I find
with those shells, those constantly moving shells. It's so tantalising.
it gives me stomach cramps.
Well, because of how tantalising it is.
That might be candy floss. Every
What
time
did
you've
we
been
talk
playing
about the
that.
other week? Remember the father and son who did their floor with Thomas?
Oh, yeah.
They could have done all their shelving
Yeah.
on the same basis, because I'm amazed the depth of shelving you can get with coinage in those things. They'll stick out. Do you think they're glued, some of them?
I think some of them might be stuck together. Maybe not glued. Maybe some
Have I gone
kind
too
of...
far? Have I gone over the
Perhaps-
absolute
This isn't
legal?
rogue
They perhaps
traders.
soak them in a sticky wash, maybe. You
I
know?
don't want Frank turning up to these poor arcades with the camera crew.
You're quite right.
That would be
I
good.
don't go in the arcades anymore after the incident. So
Lovely places, arcades. Such nice people you meet in there.
yeah, so anyway, I say it was a brilliant film. It's got, Ryan Gosling and all that.
Oh, it's got the gauze in it.
The Gosling's in
I'm
it.
in.
Harrison
I'm
Ford.
so in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't tell you anything about it because the director had a thing read out before saying, don't tell anyone,
Really?
about anything in the film.
All right.
I think he brought me up with the David Baddiel story.
You think so?
I mean, I don't think he's that draconian.
So, did you and David meet up afterwards?
We,
Or did you just go your separate ways?
no, we got the tube home.
Keeping it real.
And I was
Good.
slightly worried that we didn't sit in our normal order.
Right.
Like on
Did
the
he wave- did he wave
on the
you away?
sofa, he's always on my right.
Right.
But no, he sat on another carriage.
It was about
And
50
you went,
seats away and
"Dave,
refused to join you.
That would have been. I wouldn't shout on a tube that time of the night. You get your throat slit. Let's face it.
I love your non-Londoner view of the tube.
Yeah. It's fine. I used it last night. It was all right. There's no problem.
No, it's all right. Not if you're a
sorry.
national figure.
Oh, yeah. Borderline national treasure.
Oh, my God.
It's all right.
I'm
It's all
very
right.
much a regional figure.
Also, Al, if he's with Dave, 2 for the price of 1.
Exactly.
Indeed.
That's a hostage situation.
Yeah.
You two would be nightmare hostages.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the quips, though, the quips.
You don't often get very demanding hostages. That's why we'd be like high maintenance hostages. Yeah, well, I can't eat that. What about my regime?
Look, I just want to say...
It did make me think, though. What about this? Would this be, if this was a proper radio show with professional people, the sort of texting they'd have is, what are the best films ever that include a year in the title?
Oh.
Oh, yeah. But then why do these people do that? Because then they just get years in.
What they're
Yeah.
doing is 50 pence a text.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
21, Dalek Invasion Earth, 2150 AD. It's got
I've
to
not
be up
seen
there.
it. I've not
Well,
seen
no
it.
one's seen it, Al. It's a weird thing.
Frank's seen it. Frank's seen it. He's not the only one. He's
What
a
about-
national
Thank
figure.
you.
Frank's seen all of
Thank you.
W.C. Fields' oeuvre.
I don't think any of those have got a year.
No,
What about Dracula AD 1972? The slight weird thing of having the AD at the front of the
Odd.
year. That's two AD ones, actually. When did we stop using
There must
AD?
be a war film, Frank, like a 90... There must be.
Oh.
1941, Spielberg film.
Lovely.
Anyway, you can see how tedious it would be if we had that as a
I
text.
can imagine
Just
the
from that
switchboard
little...
Yeah.
lighting up even now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what I want to know, 8, 12, 15, when did we stop using AD when we talked about years in general? I mean, I've never heard this year called 2017 AD.
Oh, yeah.
That's all the religious ways of saying that.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I went to the Russian State Circus this week.
Did
Get
you?
around, do you? You get around.
I get around. You got to do it.
Ow. Also, that's a lot of Frank's passions in one go.
What
he
a
loves,
I know.
culture.
he loves the
Oh,
big
yeah.
top, and he loves bit of the old Russian.
It's the first time I've ever seen clowns come out too. I'm filling up. I don't know about you. I'm filling up.
Do they have clowns? They don't have clowns.
There's clowns.
They don't.
Yeah. I can't tell you. I get so anxious for the clowns.
I always
Well,
just
I do-
assume
I
that
do
the
if they're
Russian
from
state,
Russia.
the Russian State Circus, I just see it like as a guy in a red leotard walking on his hands. Isn't that the main thing?
Looking a bit
lot of-
roidy.
Wouldn't be.
They all look so roidy.
Be a good
Use of roiding.
be a good advert for the Russian State Circus. A bloke just doing that round the local streets. Red leotard on the hands.
I'd
Oh, you'd
watch.
have to wash your hands when you're going after that.
Yeah, but it's a small price to pay for that kind of.
So, what sort of
gig.
acts, Al? What sort of acts do they have, Frank?
Well, can
in
I
the old-
say, before we get 5,000 texts coming, which I know is 2,500 quid, but even so.
not direct to us. We should.
No,
point out.
not direct to us. Otherwise, I'd be saying, hey, what about songs with a collar in the title? There's no animal products in the Russian State Circus.
Oh, right. Good.
Don't they have animals?
No animals.
Animals have largely gone from circus.
You know,
the good
animals,
ones,
they
anyway.
had their chance
Yeah.
in the circus and they blew it.
Not even the
Yeah.
elephants.
Nothing.
Oh.
No elephants, no. You know, the
Tigers.
elephant. What did they do with those little round stools the elephants used
And
to
the
stand on?
tutus.
They were sturdy, those stools. If you
They
think
were.
about what they took,
Yeah.
they were a feat of engineering. They're probably used just in somebody's Winnebago now with
Yeah.
with a takeaway on it. Strong man's takeaway.
Do you know why you can't have elephants in tutus, Frank, anymore?
What's that?
Very cruel. Very cruel.
Yes.
What about the
So,
bearded... Does the
lion.
bearded lady get any work now?
No, but this is all pre-PC you're talking
Okay,
about.
they're called
Right.
differently haired now.
Are they?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Differently
I've
haired.
just made that
That'll
up.
help for some
No.
Google
I
searches
suspect that's what they're
later.
called. Don't Google that.
Didn't seem.
So,
So the animals, they turn out to be troublemakers.
Yeah.
But they had their time in the sunshine, but it's all over. Well, actually, they didn't have that
Probably
much
not
time.
enough.
Not that much time in the sunshine. No, true.
In a van or in a big top.
Yeah. Well, they had to wear a big top, the elephants.
Oh, sure.
But no trousers like Donald Duck. Animals, they got it all wrong. Top cat, Donald Duck.
What are they
yeah.
like?
Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna go one way or the other, go for the trousers. But no way, Jose, says the elephant. So they've all gone back to the jungle.
Yeah.
And,
So what is there
left
instead?
left a bunch of humans. Everyone's human in it.
what do they do?
I got nothing against human beings.
Tricks.
Trapeze?
Mainly tricks.
They did a lot of that. They had. There was one thing that really nagged at me.
Skinner, Dean, and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
I know we've partially shuffled along to your Russian State Circus night out, but you did You did mention your cinema nights to see Blade Runner 2000. What is it?
2049.
2049. I was going to guess at 48.
On Sky, if you say a year on Sky, me and Joan Bakewell, the Baroness, once did 37 links saying, I think 2015. No, 2015. Saying, now this year, 2015, Bob. And then the man said, sorry, but on Sky our policy is to say 2015.
After you'd already gone.
Really?
Yeah. Wow.
I like the man.
Got us warmed up.
Imagine that was a tense tea break after that lot. Morning, guys. Surely toffee fee are too noisy for the cinema, says Barry. I think that's a good shout, because that was mooted as being a good cinema
In what
snack.
respect?
I think they might be crunchy as well.
Toffee.
Well, does he not mean the packaging?
Maybe it's packaging.
They have that brown, glossy packaging.
Yeah.
But are they red? See, I've never seen them in shops. I think they're a sort of thing
Only cinema.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a
Well,
rule.
Daisy said you can definitely get them. I trust her. She's just mouthed the pound shop.
Oh,
Oh, the pound shop.
good
Yeah.
shout. Good shout.
How much are they?
And you've also asked for films that have numbers in it, but you haven't. You've
Well, a
asked
year.
not to.
Years.
Oh, that's right, yeah. Okay, not a film. So already people are changing
Oh,
it.
what I mean.
Okay, not a film.
Okay, not a film, but the comic 2000 AD gave us Judge Dredd from Gob in Coventry.
That's true, but...
It's not what you asked.
no, it's not what I asked.
And even then, what you asked, you said don't do.
But it has got AD, which is what I was
That's
talking
true.
about.
Well,
True enough.
And also, we appeared. Do you remember we appeared
Theresa May's back.
in a page of Judge
did?
Dredd?
How exciting.
Yeah, I've
Oh,
got
yeah.
it. I've got the poster of it.
Oh, yeah, I remember
It's
that.
laminated.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and it incorporated our names onto the adverts on the side of skyscrapers.
That's right.
Oh, that
Very
was good.
exciting.
533 says, again, not a film.
Oh, what I
99 red balloons.
mean? Yeah, well,
It's not a year.
Hold
It's
it.
not a film. And it's not got AD in
that
it.
creeps into my songs with a colour in the title. It's gone into a thing I said I'd never do. I said I'd have to leave radio forever.
Maybe that's what's being suggested.
Oh, mate.
I mean, not only is it not a movie, it's not a year either.
But I think it's a song with a colour in it. That's what's.
Oh,
That's the
okay.
You think that's what he went
yeah.
for?
She.
Oh.
It's Nina.
Oh, sure.
No,
not
Nina
Nina.
sung 99
right,
Nina is
Luftballon.
that. She did it, yeah.
She did 99 Luftballon.
99.
533 then.
I do apologise, Frank.
99 Luftballon. Very lovely she was. Wonder what happened to her.
Oh, yeah.
Probably ravaged by drugs. But let's hope not. Let's hope not.
Goodness
Let's
me.
give her the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, she was very pretty lady. Oh dear, things that you can't say anymore. Anyway, I was going
We're
to
on
tell you.
absolute lad here.
On absolute 70s.
I'll tell you what was occurred to us during the conversation a little earlier. Nudist colonies.
Oh yes.
Are they still
Frank.
operational?
You are so right. I remember seeing documentaries where they were always frying sort of bacon and
Exactly.
sausages in the
Jeopardy.
pan.
Or badminton.
Yeah.
Did a lot of badminton.
True.
So if the police come, you can use the shuttlecock as an
Indeed.
emergency.
But they'd make them do that to show, how the extraordinary nature of it.
Yeah.
But
I
you don't
think-
get them, do you?
I never hear
Well,
about it anymore.
I now have a dread that we're going to start getting messages from people saying, "I'm at one now, listening to the show."
No, they won't. I don't. Not surely.
It's
not
not
in
the weather for
October. My point in a nutshell.
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
I was going to tell you what wound me up at the Russian State Circus.
Oh yeah.
As I say, it's all people.
Yeah.
The Russian State Circus, and there was a lot of trapeze and high wire work.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you what, several of them did. They wore safety wires.
Right.
They hook themselves onto safety wires.
That's not the bit that annoyed you, is it?
That's the bit that annoyed me.
Oh, Frank, come on.
No, don't get me wrong. I I don't want to see anyone killed.
Well, you do. That's the.
No,
What do you want? An
I
accident?
almost certainly don't want to see anyone killed.
No.
But there's something I just think, oof, I could do it with that one.
No, you couldn't.
No, but you know what I mean? That the risk is part of that's what you're paying for. 36 quid, I think I paid for a ticket.
Ooh.
They got safety wires on.
Yeah.
And is this for all the trapeze acts?
No, a couple of the blokes were a bit like Ian Botham, no helmet. They didn't have the safety wire.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I like those ones.
Yeah, I respected those.
Yeah.
But it's a really weird thing, but I don't want to see anyone badly hurt, but I did feel shortchanged.
Yeah.
You want to see Jeopardy?
I wanted to.
There is
I don't
jeopardy,
mind
yeah.
the old the safety net because the
Down at the
safety.
bottom?
Yeah.
All right.
I feel that about high-rise window cleaners as well.
No.
What, you think they should just be?
Yeah.
No, they need to be.
No, but it spoils it.
I don't mind them
No,
because
they need to be.
you usually haven't paid when you see them.
Yeah, exactly.
But it did it. Now, I mean, I couldn't. Psychologically, it's an interesting quibble because I just feel they owed me a risk to their life and limb in their line of work. That's what I felt.
Wow.
At least with the safety net, there's always the chance of the bouncing out. You see the ones when they land and they bounce and they land on the floor and it's not going to be fatal, but it's going to shake them up, let's face it. But, no, it spoilt it for me.
Oh.
Here's a question for that. If there was a news, when they have stories in the news and they say an unnamed footballer has been drinking and driving, or an unnamed politician has been arrested outside a nightclub.
Yeah.
If they said, if it said it turns out an unnamed British celebrity can fly,
Yeah.
can actually fly unaided,
Yeah.
who would your guess be? For me, instantly, I don't know why this is, Fern Cotton. I just...
Right.
Why
When I think of her, I picture her against clouds.
Well, I tell you why. I think there's something of the Tinkerbell about her.
Maybe
Right.
that's it.
She's very sort of, Disney fairy in a lovely way.
But if she could fly, would she be able to resist not using it on popular TV shows? Obviously, she might be using it on the radio all the time for all we know.
True.
Yeah.
Imagine walking past the studio. Is he still on Radio 1? I'm asking a young... Oh, she's shaking her head in horror at the idea of anybody that age being on Radio 1. Which is like, what if she works on this show? But it could be she's...
She thinks she's like loose women.
She could be doing her radio show from, say, 6 feet off the floor.
Yeah.
For all we know.
Yeah.
But I think it's an interesting... if the rumour went out that an unnamed celebrity could fly, who do you think it would be? 8, 12, 15.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We've had some flying celebrities in.
Yeah, who do they think?
B.A. Baracus would be my guess.
Oh, of course, he was frightened to fly, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how he covered it up. He didn't
Yeah.
go
His
on a plane.
catchphrase was, I ain't getting in no plane.
No, he doesn't need to.
No.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's got to be Brian Blessed just as he was in Flash Gordon. That's what someone says. 071.
You can imagine if Brian Blessed wanted to fly, that he probably could. There seems to be such a life force.
Well,
I think that's true.
You can definitely imagine he will have told an anecdote about how it happened, even if it didn't.
I was
he
thinking
does.
if he could fly, the chances of him keeping it a secret are very low.
He does tell an anecdote about how he flew so fast in a jet that when he got down, he'd actually gone through time. And he honestly tells that story.
Wow.
Has anyone ever said, Brian's a bit quiet, isn't he? Is he all right, do you think?
They will soon,
Oh, goodness me, Frank.
I should think, but that'll be the first time.
Oh, it comes to us all.
346 has texted, able to fly. The Antichrist herself, Catherine Jenkins, surely.
Oh, yes, she can.
My
Yeah.
mum's suggestion was Gareth Malone, which I think deserves some merit.
You should have
That's
some...
a good choice.
Yeah,
because
Gareth Malone's very good.
That's why he shaved the side of his hair. He found it wasn't quite aerodynamic
And he
enough.
hangs about with the clergy, Frank.
Oh, he does. That's true.
You should have some Wagner or something as a jingle for Catherine Jenkins. I think Orville could be the celeb who could fly. Oh, I see. Okay.
Oh,
He's wished it for a long time.
Yeah. But I can't.
You can.
No, actually, I can. No, I think you can. No, really, it's not. I mean, apart from, forget the song. Hold this. No, just stop the music. Can you stop the music? I actually can fly. But you're what are you, an owl? I'm not an owl. I'm green. Anyway, little Keith Harris Orville
And
dialogue.
Danny Gorman has suggested Jedward.
Oh.
Hand in hand, do you think?
100.
Oh, yeah.
100.
That reminds you of the older woman who had 2 monkeys that died, took them to the taxidermist and said, can you stuff these for me? And the bloke said, do you want them mounted? And she said, no, just hold in hand.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Yeah, I
And this
know.
is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 8 12 15. Please do. Follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or email the show via the Absolute Radio website.
And we've actually had an email. I did my Friday night trawl. You know, I sometimes trawl through the emails that we've received last night. And just after midnight, we've had an email entitled Nostradamus Skinner. And it begins, I often listen to the podcast while swimming at my local gym. What? Amazing what they
Can
do
that be
now.
done?
Oh,
Yeah, I think it's waterproof
Aquaman.
headphones and
Waterproof headphones?
must be. Unless they mean on the way there, but I think they mean actually swimming. I often listen to
What will they think of?
Oh, unbelievable. What a time to be
I
alive.
honestly didn't know you could do that.
I didn't really know
I
that.
think it's amazing. I mean, swimming laps is boring. So,
The great thing, if you got the grommets in, you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
What's the grommets?
If you got grommets, you get grommets in your ear drums.
Don't know what that is.
It's if kids have a lot of, usually kids, fluid inside the ear.
Okay, right.
It's got a glue ear, for example.
Right.
They have the grommets, and it's like, so you have to have plugs in your ears when you swim. You could use your earplugs from your underwater Walkman.
Exactly
Swim-
that.
you swim-
exactly that.
you swim, man.
You swim, man. Anyway, they
Can
swim
I
at
tell
their
you, by the
local
way?
gym. Yeah,
On the subject of Nostradamus,
sure.
I once
Late review.
I once sent I sent a text to someone, and I don't know why, but I referred to him, to Nostradamus.
Yeah.
Do you say Nostradamus?
I did.
Yes.
But I'm happy to be
I
corrected.
say Nostradamus.
Okay, well, I spelt it wrong,
Oh.
and predictive text offered me nostril.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
And I thought, if predictive text is not working close with Nostradamus, surely the godfather of predictive text. I should think he must have a patent somewhere if you went through his personal papers.
Very good. Trayvon.
Yeah.
I mean, really good stuff. I think that's great. I think that's great.
I'm using that on my poster.
I feel like I need to stop for a moment and just think, that's good.
Attention must be paid. It
But
works
it's a
on...
true story.
Yeah.
Frank's material works on so many levels. There's another comic told me only this week.
Anyway,
usually the lowest, but occasionally I ascend like Fern Cotton leaving Stansted.
Well, Jason Clogg says, I think Frank is asking for these suggestions to put people off the scent. It's actually Frank who can fly.
Oh.
Well, if I wish that were true.
I don't know. I feel like the latent show-off in him would mean that we'd know by now.
I wouldn't be able to keep it under my...
Latent show off.
Yeah, exactly.
Apparently, but also we should say, sorry to interrupt again, but that I sort of suggested that Fern Cotton might, because she's not on Radio 1, she's not out of work by any means.
Oh,
she's
no.
doing a lot of radio, and she does, what did you say she did?
Me? I
TV
think-
panel?
Yeah,
Oh,
she
she
does
does something.
things. She does
Celebrity Juice, does she do?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
I'm sure she does that.
With,
Look, we're just saying it's not a Clinton Cards type of situation.
No, she's fine. She,
She's got cookbooks and all sorts.
with Holly Willoughby,
Yeah.
I once, when you get names mixed up, actually brilliantly, sometimes it really works. I called her Billy Wallaby.
Oh, excellent.
And it works. I mean, it
Nice.
works. It's not often. No, I was just saying, I was on with that Billy Wallaby, and they said, what? I thought I'd done a children's programme.
Excellent.
In Australia.
That's
But how
actually should be
often-
checking into hotels.
Yeah.
That's a great
who'd
nom
work
de
that
plume.
out? Yeah, but there'd be a bit of a look from the desk clerk
Yeah.
when you said, mate, Wallaby, Billy's the first. I mean, they'd be very suspicious, I think. And wouldn't you feel some sort of compulsion to hop to the lift? I don't know.
The Frank Skinner Show on Absolute Radio. Back Saturday morning from 8. Tune in live for the full Frank experience.
Absolute Radio.
I'm just going to start this email about the Nostradamus Skinner.
Yeah.
I often listen to the podcast while swimming at my local gym, and I'm a few weeks behind. Anyhow, this week, while listening to the episode aired on the 17th of July, imagine my shock when I heard Frank and the team discuss the contempt he has for anyone having a coughing fit. and they've used inverted commas there, coughing fit. And
Yeah.
during the same episode, the team debate... excuse me. I think I'm having a cough.
No.
Wasn't deliberate.
no.
Wasn't deliberate.
Hold it, the absolute's just fallen off the wall.
The team debated the relevance of a P45.
We did.
Well, the events that have befallen on our esteemed leader during the Tory party conference this
Yes.
week has led me to believe that the show is not only entertaining, but eerily prophetic. I look forward to tuning in this week to discover what the show has to foretell on domestic and world events in the weeks to come.
Well, watch out for Fern Cotton
yeah, exactly.
from
I'd
your
love
bedroom,
it.
from your bedroom window.
I'd love that to be on our poster. Eerily prophetic.
Eerily prophetic
Oh,
is
it's a good
is
quote.
very fine.
Yeah.
But, my point was that if I see someone have a big coughing, stroke, choking fit, I never have quite the same respect for them after.
Yeah.
And I think that that seems to be happening nationwide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why would you go down in people's estimation as a Prime Minister because she had a coughing fit?
I'll tell you what happened. Theresa May, when she had this coughing fit, she did exactly what people tend to do during the coughing fit, which is this. She went, excuse me. And they say excuse me in a slightly camp way, as if they've just said something a bit bawdy, like, oh, excuse me.
Yeah.
Their whole personality changes, and then there's them struggling afterwards. I hate it when they carry on, when they forge on with the voice.
Yeah.
That was the mistake. I think you have to just say no, it's not happening. They say, I can't actually listen
She
to it.
can't give up, though. She can't give up and stop doing it, because then all the Tories that said that her speech was like a metaphor would have had nothing to say after it. It was like a metaphor. She was saying we need to carry on, and look at her. She carried on with her sore throat.
But
I
you sound... Sorry, Frank.
Sorry, I didn't... No, carry on.
I was just going to say, they end up sounding like Mavis from Coronation Street. The 30 seconds after the coughing fit, they say, the policy of neutrality. It sounds awful.
To be fair, that's just because the conference was in Manchester and she assimilated very quickly.
Well,
you pick up an
that can
accent
happen.
in a place.
I did... it was the first programme on Carlton Television. I don't know if you remember Carlton Television.
I do.
And it's a mass... And I said I can't do it. My voice has gone. And they said, "Oh God, it would really help if you could do it." So I did it in this voice like this. It was awful, and got a lot less laughs.
Oh,
Really?
I mean, I got more than B. Arthur, who died on her anyway. But it was horrible. And I remember I was in the green room after, and the Chippendales were in there,
oh yeah.
and they were in
Not
there.
furniture, by the way.
No, the men.
He's worked with them all, Al.
Yeah, I know.
And the
Did they have the cuffs, Frank?
Do you know what? They were still in. They had this thing where they would just wear a Dickie Bowen collar
Yeah,
and
and the
cuffs,
cuffs.
and then black trousers.
Yeah.
And they'd be completely oiled and bare-chested apart from that. And they were like that in the green room. They hadn't put tracky tops
I'd
on.
like to think that in the green room they were wearing the shirts that the collar and cuffs had been
And
removed
not
from.
the collar and cuffs. That would have been great.
They
That's
live
what
their
they
life
should
as a
have done.
photo neutral or something.
That's that's what they should have done. That would have been so brilliant. We've put those away now for the next show.
Yeah.
And
Do they just wear that to black tie then? What do they do then? Do they do black tie and cuffs then? They have to, don't they?
I mean, they looked amazing, but I was standing and they kept really staring at me. And
Why?
I thought,
Jealous of your body.
maybe that. I thought that.
You've got a lovely body.
I thought, you know.
Well, I just wanted to address. I didn't want you. No, but I didn't want him to think I was
but-
criticising.
We're on air. Stop this.
But it's hardly a Chippendale, is it?
No.
No, I didn't mean it to sound creepy. I just meant to say that you're in good nick.
Yeah, well, this was probably 15 years ago.
Okay.
So, you know.
Why were they staring at you then? What was the
Well, that's
story
what I
then?
was a bit worried that, you know, whether I'd be able to get to my car or not. I then realised this is absolutely true, I was leaning on the mirror. And they were actually constantly looking in the mirror as my cough turned. Because you don't want to be coughing up, if you know what I mean.
No.
Yeah, so I did empathise a bit with TM.
Theresa May.
TM the PM.
Yeah.
Because, it reduces your performance,
Oh,
definitely.
definitely.
I'm glad we've established that. I think we have to go out on something funnier. Any ideas? What about My Dog's Got No Nose?
How does it smell?
Smell.
It's actually dead. So it smells. It's beneath the earth, but I can't. I don't know how it smells now. I imagine very soil-like.
Lovely.
I just remembered as well. I went out with a nudist once.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Did you?
It's only just come back to me.
One of the
yeah.
Chippendales?
No.
Was she always a nudist? Or just in your company?
No. That was the problem. If you go with the nudist, you just don't feel special anymore.
Right.
There you go.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
So Theresa May, and then she got handed her P45, didn't she?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was a kind of Disney P45. It
Yes,
had a
it was.
huge 4-5 on it. I don't think they look like
Well,
that.
I haven't seen one for a few years.
No,
Me neither.
Me neither.
But
We're all doing all right, aren't we?
but not-
Saturday
none
mornings.
of us
Sometimes
can
some
say
other
we'll
stuff.
never see one again. Obviously,
No, never say
No.
never.
We
But
live from
yes.
show to show, my friend.
Yes, he was. It was one of them pranks, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, he's a known prankster.
It was Penkian in nature, I would say.
Yeah.
From the genre started by Steve Penk. I don't know if it was started by him, but I think of him as the Grandmaster Penk.
You
Yes.
have a looking beetle there?
Oh, yes.
Well, this is
Good point.
this
What
isn't
about
his.
Jonathan Rolfe on Candid Camera in the 60s?
Careful, I thought you were insulting one of my friends.
Who started the
You're a
roll on
consonant
floor
away from an
laughing
insult.
concept?
But this isn't his first time at the pranking rodeo.
No,
No, he's done
no, he lives in Prank City.
Pranksville,
He
Tennessee.
does, yeah.
So,
Yeah, he dines on the Frankenfurter.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does, yeah. I think we've made the point.
Yeah.
We're speaking of Simon Brodkin,
yes,
who
was a doctor.
he was a doctor,
Yeah.
yeah. But he
Who?
thought
Now
this
he's a
was
prankster.
better.
Yeah.
He used to give out prescriptions, and
Yeah.
now he's actually with my management company, so I should
And
point
mine.
out his
And yours, Al.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. We should all point out he's a genius.
Yeah. No, but so what happened was he handed it over, and then
What would you have done now if you'd been Theresa
Had I-
May? Because
well-
she said, didn't she? This is what I want to give to
Jeremy
Jeremy
Corbyn.
Corbyn.
That was
Quite-
all right.
No.
Quite quick.
No, because the
Not bad.
problem with hear me out. The problem with that is that Jeremy Corbyn wasn't being roasted. So there's no point. You can't deflect it onto him. You've got to attack the man who gave you the P45. Surely.
No, because then she's saying to a prankster, "Oh, I'm going to give you your P45."
I'm not saying she
nobody-
should have said
What
that
about- I tell you
exact
what-
thing to him. I'm just
Gives a
saying
prankster a P45.
she should have reduced him.
No, but it shows the
And she didn't.
The power of comedy. If she'd come up with a one-liner at that point, a winner, that people have been saying she's back.
Well,
if
no
she'd
one
have
is
said,
saying
that. Yeah.
If she'd have said thanks, I'm saving that for the bloke who stuck the letters on the
Yeah,
wall behind
exactly.
me. She'd have been rocking.
Yeah.
Having said that,
except they hadn't fallen off yet.
No,
so
well,
it would be weird Nostradamus.
But as you know, we don't like to leave things to the last minute on this show, in Nostradamus style. But I saw Michael Foot speak once.
Did you?
Into a political crowd, not at a conference, but just like a student gathering.
Yeah.
And somebody shouted, "You're an old fool." And he said, "Well, yes, I probably am an old fool," and got a round of applause. And I thought, "Oh dear, that's actually applying I'm having that to a heckle."
Isn't it also it's like he's done one class in improv where they say yes.
Yeah,
say yes and run with it.
Exactly.
He's just gone, yes, I am.
I thought her other joke was better.
Yeah.
She made a reference to
the
Philip.
fact that it can be described as her other joke is not a good sign in a
Well,
whatever it was.
he handed her a lozenge, Philip Hammond, didn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Chancellor.
And she said...
Oh, yeah, the Chancellor's given away something free.
She held it aloft, and she'd obviously thought of it that minute, and she looked quite pleased.
Yeah.
And she said, "The Chancellor's given away something for free." And then there was a ripple.
I think that
I
is,
think
you
that's-
know,
I thought that was
in
a
House
decent-
of Commons standard
Yeah.
comedy.
And may I say, I watched Question Time this week, and there was a woman on there. The first answer she gave, gave 2 or 3 paragraphs or whatever, and then she went, "And as for Theresa May at the Tory party conference, she did so many U-turns. I thought I was watching Top Gear." And looked really pleased with herself.
Sorry?
What did
but
she
it was
get?
like
Anything?
nothing. But it was like her first answer. It was just so
good.
obviously a pre-prepared rubbish joke.
Yeah.
Whereas at least Theresa May was doing, spontaneous.
She was off the cuff.
Chancellor.
You know what, Al? She hadn't
I thought
got
it was
she hadn't got writers in.
I thought she did all right for the under the circumstances. She's
Yeah.
pressurised. She's got a sore throat. A
No,
prankster has shown
I'll
up.
give her the lozenge.
Odds Brodkins. Yeah.
I'll give her the lozenge, Al. The
Yeah.
lozenge joke was decent.
That passes.
I'm not giving her that Corbyn one. I
Really?
just
No, I think that's fine.
no, it just was embarrassing. It was embarrassing.
Sounding really Team Jeremy now.
She could have got him to sing "No, Jeremy Corbyn."
That would be good.
Yeah. Because he works better than "Oh, Jeremy Corbyn," because "Oh" he's just added to make it scan,
Yeah.
which is something that Lennon and McCartney used to pick each other up on.
What
Oh, did
about
they?
Don't just add a word to make it scan, it's got to work.
Oh, nice.
when Amber Rudd said to the Simon Brodkin, she went, "Go home, go home." She was like the matron at Eton. I loved her. Go home, boy.
Well, he phoned me and asked me to work on him with Brodkin's Going Home, the new
Oh, yeah.
his new comedy single. But we've got to go to Prankmeister Studios. And it's too far for me.
Frank Skinner.
On Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Do you think...
Did he get arrested, the prankster?
No.
Okay.
I think he was nabbed. He was grabbed by the Rosses, which made his eyes water. And but he was fully accredited. So he was all right. It's all carefully planned.
Yeah.
I don't quite understand. I haven't worked with Brothers for a long time.
Okay.
Worked
with them all, though, haven't you?
Prankle Stiltskin. That's what we call it. I have, but where do they go? The pranks that he does. Is there a TV thing that they
think
go
there might
on?
be.
Oh, they
Yeah.
go on the YouTube. I
Do
reckon.
they just-
YouTube,
Well, you make money from that.
TV show.
Once you get 10,000 views, you're laughing.
No, I don't think you make money from 10,000 views. Do you get
Oh,
like
here
a
we go,
penny
the old
for that?
internet expert.
I'm just guessing.
Come on, guys, don't squabble. It's not what people want to hear. They got enough of that at home.
Okay, let's say 1 million views out. Would you say that?
About
would be
7
fair enough?
pence. I think that's what you
Okay.
get for about 1 million views. It's about 7 pence.
When I
I'm
think
guessing.
you start making money maybe about then.
Because
Right.
he's done a few.
He'd done a few.
He threw money at Sepp Blatter.
He did.
And
Did he?
I think he wrecked the Blue Peter Garden. Was that him?
Yeah, definitely.
But he's done it. Yeah.
I mean, that's his best one.
Yeah.
The Blue Peter Garden.
And he gets no credit for it,
No,
ironically.
Unfair.
Oh, well, I've outed him now.
Really funny.
There was a rumour that Les Ferdinand was one of the gang that wrecked the Blue Peter Garden.
Are you allowed to say this on the radio?
Well, I think you can say there was a rumour.
Oh, okay, fine.
Yeah. If you can't, I've never heard that Les Ferdinand was involved. If I said that, it's even worse.
Good shifting.
That sounds like a real urban myth, though. That sounds like one of those Marilyn Manson and the Wonder Years myth.
Well, I saw Dennis Healey, a Labour politician, interviewed once on breakfast television, and they said, so is it true your wife had an operation as a private hospital, which obviously is anathema to a Labour politician? And he said, well, you know what, there's always... I mean, it was true, but he said there's always something about... He said, it's like all these rumours about Dennis Thatcher and the mafia. And I thought, come on, great deflection. Fantastic work. Do you think Theresa May ever regrets calling the general election?
Oh, daily, I should think.
It was very ironic.
I see.
Do you think a day goes past when she doesn't think, oh, that sort of real shit when you have
The
to
shiver.
You know, you have to grab your own forearms.
Yeah.
Oh. I bet she does that, which is dangerous when she's driving.
Yeah, you've got to be careful.
The F fell off, Frank.
Pardon?
The F fell off. And the E fell off as well.
I have to say, when the letters fell off, I thought, contrary to every other thing, I thought that was the moment I thought she's going to be all right.
Why? Why?
Because I thought all these signs that, you know, of images of her fumbling leadership, the voice going, and Brothers coming up. But I thought if things were really going bad, it would have spelt something really bad, wouldn't it? It would have said something like loser, or something like
Whereas
that.
Whereas it just says building a country that works or everyone.
Yeah, which is...
That's all right.
Yeah, it sounds like she's a Twitterati.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's probably worked to her advantage, I would have thought.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
There's also another bit of furore with Theresa May's
I love a
speech.
furore.
Yeah.
Oh, good. And apparently it echoed an episode of The West Wing, Frank. You know, the American TV.
Yeah. It's like that episode of The West Wing.
It's like that episode of The West Wing.
Yeah.
Apparently there was a line in it that sounded very similar to a speech that's in that show from like 2012 or something.
Yeah.
And there's a bit of furore, people saying she's having that. Somebody's nicked it.
She said our capacity to rise to challenges might well be limitless, which is basically what Martin Sheen, not the man, but the character of... Was he President Bartlett had said?
Right.
Exactly. It was verbatim.
Who's policing that, though? I mean, the people that... I can understand when people say, oh, Joe Pasquale does Frank Skinner's jokes sometimes. But who's policing politicians?
No, but this is what I was saying to you earlier this morning, actually, as we chatted pre-show. Yeah. If you use writers, you don't know where they're getting their stuff from.
I mean, I sometimes police this. When somebody says to you, oh, I had a dream last night that something... When they say I had a dream, I always go, oh, like Martin Luther King? And they go, no. I was driving a car that had square wheels or whatever it is, you know.
Yeah.
The shark.
They're never as good as Martin Luther King's, actually, it turns out.
You see shark in dreams.
But you get... If you use writers, right, which I basically disapprove of...
He's got a bit Ray Winston, right?
Yeah.
Use writers, right?
They... you get your writers who write...
Yeah.
But what you do get is what I would call your writer-gatherers. And your writer-gatherers, they write a bit, but then they might just nip in the comedy store on a Friday night and see what's happening with us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know this.
And I think she's got someone, they've thought, it's getting late, get a box set on, we'll find something.
Yeah.
They're going to be under pressure, like anyone. Homework deadline is due.
Yeah.
You know.
They probably thought the voice will have gone by then, we'll be safe, but no.
Another thing about the voice.
It's like when Stephen Hawking only, when he brought out Brief History of Time, they only printed the first 50 pages and left the rest blank. But apparently some people did get that far, and he was caught out. Of course, in the old days, the politicians always had semaphore up their sleeve. If they lost their voice, they'd just get the flags out.
Oh, yeah.
How
I don't get it.
Where's this
I'm gonna be
going?
honest. I just
how many?
don't get
What,
it.
he's dropped it now?
I think that was
Has he
it.
dropped it out?
I think that was it. I think
But was it a thing?
I was happy with it.
I feel like it's my fault for not getting it.
But can we talk about it more?
I'm not sure it's
Do you
a
want
good
to leave
idea.
it? Okay. What happened?
Don't you think? How could she have scored? I'm moving on. How could she have scored maximum brownie points? What about if she took the letters behind her and done the whole speech in that really quickly?
Oh, that would be good.
I mean, as fast as she could, it would have took 5 to 6 hours.
Yeah.
But done the whole speech in those loose letters. At the
She would
back.
have been like Rachel Riley, Frank.
Oh, yeah, that'd be
it would have been. I'll
is-
tell you what it reminded me of. I did an audio play with Tom Baker, the Fourth Doctor.
He needs no intro.
No.
And it just in between takes, I just went, and I'm going to have to change the word because there was a swear word involved. But as you may know, there was a guy who lived in the Black Country who didn't swear, so he used to say things like taunting and jaking. The man who said,
Who said?
"You ain't exactly no taunting homo sheriff yourself." Which, anyway.
Which one of our readers had a T-shirt made up saying that.
Yes, fantastic. I should translate it as you aren't any Omar Sharif yourself.
Yeah.
Anyway,
He was a good-looking man.
I was, and I heard Tom Baker say, "Oh, it's like a taunting chest ward in here." I wish he'd been at the Conservative Party conference. It would have lifted the whole thing.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or email the show via the Absolute Radio website. I could have this as just a tape thing, couldn't I? That I press to think about it.
Yeah.
Some of the DJs do the whole large sections of the show like that.
Do
Just
they?
at the push of
Not
the button.
here.
No, but in general, in life. Darren John Chandler has been in touch, Frank.
Oh.
I'm just packing for
DJ Chandler. I think I saw him performing.
Fuerteventura, where nudist colonies are still a big thing.
Oh, are
Really?
they?
Is there still a nudist beach at Brighton, or is that gone?
Oh, yes, they used to be.
God, we drove through the night once to go there. I remember
Did you?
having after a drink.
How desperate were you?
Well, quite desperate. And there was just we got there about 6 a.m.
Who was it? You and some lads?
To make a day of it.
Me and some, yes.
That is horrible.
It was horrible. There's just one bloke on the beach.
Oh.
Couldn't you just had a gratin catalogue?
No, we went for.
Quite a big man, like a big wobbly man who was very cold affected as well. That was a terrible journey that was in the list of terrible journeys.
Well, journey home must have been depressing as well.
Well, it was better because I think apart from the driver, we were all drunk, so that helped.
Did you say just here by the central reservation, mate?
It's the level of my professionalism that I made up that thing about the driver. Anyway.
We should really discuss this week our domestic habits, because there's been a news story
Can
about...
I say, by the way, I do absolutely 100% disapprove of drinking and driving in all its manifestations.
Good.
In fact, I feel that about drinking.
Yeah.
Never
About
mind
drinking.
adding driving.
Yeah, you've gone right the other way on the drinking, haven't you?
Yeah.
I think it doesn't bring out the best in people.
You seem pretty prohibition positive.
I'd be up with the prohibition. I'd very much like to swing an axe into a keg and all the beer, like you said in films, like in the Untouchables. If anyone's got any beer kegs they want trashing, give us a shout. 8, 12, 15.
Hang on, are you offering yourself as a personal appearance to go around with an axe? And
They've got to be full.
Getting rid
You
of
want
all
that bit
the
where you use the
moonshine.
axe and the beer comes squirting out onto the street. Brilliant.
messy.
He won't do it. He
No.
wants to pay his tax. Never mind, they're getting involved in the prohibition business.
If
might
people
do
want
it
the odd
for some
drink,
money
it's
for the
fine.
tax bill.
Just don't drink loads of red wine at a awards ceremony and then come up to in my face, in my grill, and
Yeah.
talk loads with all red wine breath.
Red wine mouth.
It's not.
hate
It's
I
not
used to
so
do
much.
some stand-up about red
Yeah.
wine mouth.
It's horrible red wine mouth.
It
Not only does
devalues everything the person's saying.
It sits on the lip for a start off,
Yeah.
like like a bolster on a sofa. It sits there, but it goes into the corners of the mouth and goes pink as it's worked by the movements of the lips. It sort of
then-
works it pink.
Why would you drink something that gives you Tudor teeth? By the end of the evening, everyone's got Tudor teeth from
Well,
the
I've
red
got
wine.
Tudor teeth. I've had a drink since 1986. I'd be happy with Tudor. I've had medieval as a description.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
412, the nudist beach is still in Brighton with a bank of pebbles built up, so you can't see it from the beach and footpath. So I just sit on top deck of bus as go past. Well, I see speaking like Tom Chance. I sit on top deck of bus as go past.
I
But
think it's done by the same people who did Theresa May's backdrop.
he says, I think it's the same big wobbly man on the beach.
Really?
He says, never seen anyone good looking.
No. Well, the woman who I went out with was good looking. I wondered if she was the
Well done.
Yeah, I think it was. I wonder if she was the only good looking nudist there's ever been.
Maybe.
Although we used to get Health and Efficiency magazine, there was some lovely women in that.
Health and efficiency.
Yeah.
Well, most of the
that a real
nudists on the documentaries look like...
It's a real thing, but I don't want to dwell on it.
No, don't dwell on it, Frank. Don't dwell on it,
It was
please.
black and white. I always think black and white's not so bad.
Leave it. The men on the nudist documentaries always look like George in George and Mildred,
Yeah.
and they were holding a frying pan.
Well, whenever you get one of these blokes who champions nudity in public,
Yeah.
you know, you get those blokes, they always get arrested. And they always, people wouldn't mind nudity in public if it wasn't for that bloke. But as you know, I'm a big champion of the naked bike ride.
You
Yeah.
are, yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm not knocking it.
Weirdos.
Weirdos.
But I find if you go out with a nudist, the whole undressing thing is very no nonsense.
Right.
Oh, is it?
Not what you want. Anyway, let's
Yeah.
talk about something else. I've still got a job.
Well, we can talk about your home personality. Psychologists have revealed something this week that apparently we have 4 distinct types of home organising persona.
Oh, yeah.
So you're either a decorative decanter,
Thank
a
you.
heartfelt hoarder,
How dare you?
a mindful maximalist, or an opportunistic organiser.
Wow. Good,
Depending
nice
on-
alliteration.
Thanks very much.
Mindful
I didn't-
maximalist is an old German boyfriend of mine.
Well, it feels like it ought to be an
Mindfield.
American, 1960s American player. It'd be Mindful Maximalist III.
An eccentric billionaire.
Yeah, exactly. Who's in love with Jack Lemmon, thinking that he's a woman.
I'm a mindful maximalist.
Are you?
Mindful.
Now, what does that
Mindful.
mean again?
Well, I think the type is that they sort of run out of space for ornaments and they buy things without anywhere to store them.
Oh, really?
do-
Apparently, they love being with. Well, what I'm saying is, I do a lot of impulse buys.
Okay.
So I'm not neurotic about my home environment. I just think, I love that, and I buy it. Apparently, a mindful maximalist like talking about their life experiences.
Yeah, I think that they are people who keep lots of souvenirs, aren't they? Of
People
things.
that bring back rocks from a holiday.
Yeah.
Yes.
Old Arsenal shirts.
Rock.
Just single.
Oh, I think.
Oh, rock.
Actually,
I meant rocks
speaking of-
like from the beach.
Speaking of old Arsenal shirts, though, I had a picture.
How dare you?
I had a picture on my wall
Yeah.
that Buzz had drawn, and it's fallen off. And it's left one of the pieces of blue tack that have now remain. You know, it's great when you get them on the wall, forming an imaginary rectangle. One of the pieces of blue tack that remain looks to me. I was lying in bed looking at it the other morning. It looks a bit like former Arsenal midfielder Ray Parlour
does it?
in profile.
Oh.
The Romford Pele, I believe he was called.
And I thought, well, I'll just leave that up
Yeah.
because.
Yeah.
There's something brilliant about blue tack. It's always the bridesmaid, never the bride, if you know
Yeah.
what I mean. To be
Yeah.
forefronted.
You know what? You could put that in a gallery and people would write essays about it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Frank Skinner's
But
art.
it's a great
Put up some blue
showbiz.
tack.
It's a common showbiz trajectory from support to headline act.
Very good.
Brilliant.
So, which one are you, please?
I am a not that bothered, but I do rather like nice furniture husband.
So, which one is that of these categories?
No, I'm my own
Is that a
category. I don't
decorative-
think I
For
quite
God's
fit
sake.
any of those.
Decorative decanter. That's very sort of zen, isn't it? Very sparse.
Frank's a
Well, that sounds
heartfelt
like me.
hoarder, I think.
My problem with that is I collect decorative decanters. I've got a house full, cluttered house full of them. No, I think I am the. We better go.
Okay.
Daisy's absolutely. She's shoving the small face in my face, which is the get shot up face. I should explain briefly.
Yeah.
Ow! Okay, I won't explain.
Skinner, Dean, and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
So we were talking about these organisation personalities that are in this news article. So we've got decorative decanters. We don't think you're that.
No.
I think.
He's heartfelt hoarder.
I think I am heartfelt hoarder. I have to say.
Heartfelt hoarder sounds like a teddy bear that never took off. Do you know what I mean? Like they tried to rival Sylvania families, but it never worked.
Don't know.
With all lots of little things in a cupboard, in a
Yeah.
plastic cupboard.
Yeah, never worked.
box describing heartfelt hoarders says people demonstrating this personality trait tend to be quieter and more thoughtful with a romantic nostalgic streak. Actually, you've got many of those.
Yeah, he's
characters,
romantic,
haven't you?
nostalgic.
Yeah,
Well,
give you that. Mindful maximalists are people displaying this personality type are also to create a welcoming interior to welcome their friends, colleagues and neighbours. It doesn't even make sense, this article.
well the heartfelt hoarder, the way it's defined, which I think it says you keep clothes you've had for more than 10 years. Well, I
Right.
definitely do that.
yeah.
But I keep them because when I'm listening to Absolute Radio's decade stations, I like to dress the part.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
You've still got things you had unplanned. I just judge your clothes by which show you were doing.
Yeah, exactly. I got and it also says you keep your favourite toy from childhood.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't, but I have bought a few back on eBay. I bought a Dander radio.
And Jonathan
thing.
Ross got you a Johnny 7 gun.
He did.
Yeah.
And I discovered this week, to my horror,
Oh, no.
and if anyone knows better, please correct me, that you can't go out and buy an Action Man anymore.
Is that right? Why not?
Oh, gender.
Well, I don't know what it is, but you can't. You know the classic, military uniform,
Oh, of
shaving
course
scarf.
I do, yeah.
Could be the military thing, or it could be the gender thing.
I'd have thought the military was in its pomp at the moment.
Yeah.
Does seem to be.
Help for heroes, our boys.
All that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'll miss him and his crazy fuzzy hair.
Well, it made me think. Do you remember when I did Don't Ask Me, Ask Britain, that long-forgotten ITV live panel show?
You had some great material on that, Frank.
I did. And I had to think about, I always pick up pennies because I'm trying to train my Action Man to use a coaster.
Yes.
Remember that? And he got nothing.
It got nothing on
Nothing
the
on the
night.
ground.
Nothing.
Nothing. I think that's
Was that a stony ground
It
out?
think it was, yeah.
Remember that jingle?
Yeah.
Well, it very much felt it was strangled by the thistles.
Yeah.
But now I'm thinking, well, if Action Man isn't out there, then maybe they're just confused.
All right, and that's what.
Yeah,
That's what threw them.
young crowd wouldn't know what an Action Man was. That's I'm still working on justifying that joke.
Maybe they were thinking, I'm not sure Action Man is a coaster kind of character. Maybe they were thinking.
No, but I want them to think a little bit outside the box. That's my job.
You're
Yeah.
right.
I've
you're
got to
right.
bring them up to me, not go down to them.
Yeah.
I always feel with hoarders.
You don't think they're listening, do you?
I don't
No.
think so. I always feel with hoarders that they've got to be comfortable with spiders. That's because when you move a box that's been there for years,
Yeah.
you're basically
Oh,
going to see
yeah.
something
I
scamper
picked
across.
up. I had a bag, carrier bag, with some just some paper in it, and I opened it.
Sounds a
there's
bit J.R. Hartley.
Oh man, there was a big spider in it. I
Was
mean,
there?
one of those. Wherever you feel about spiders, there's a certain size
Yeah.
Yeah.
where you feel your heart go.
Yeah.
Oh, we wrestled on the bedroom floor.
Yeah.
Women in love.
Oh, yeah, it was a bit like that.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I mean, I saw a massive spider in my living room on Thursday night whilst I was watching Question Time, actually. It just walked across. It stood on the rug as if it was watching the telly and then walked off.
Member of the
As
family
if it
now.
was like, more politics.
Yeah.
I've had enough of this.
I hope so. They're very apolitical now, the arachnids.
That's true.
That's what I think. I have... David Baddiel came round my house the other day, sat down in
Was
my...
this after the cinema?
No, before, pre-cinema.
They've been seeing a lot of each other.
He sat about 50 feet away and wouldn't come over.
What was that for? To watch the England game?
No, we just, met up and he sat down and he said, is your house always going to be like this? Honestly, I'm not making that up because my house still looks like we moved in yesterday. And we've been there like 5 years. It's
Wow.
terrible, really. It's like a squat.
No.
It's not.
It
It's
is.
a lovely house.
It's a lovely house, but we've ruined it. I mean, it does look like a squat. Did Bo Diddley, the popular 50s rock and roll pioneer, ever live in a squat?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I understand that.
Diddley squat.
Yeah, I'd love to know.
I've
if
got
he did.
that easier than the semaphore one.
Yeah, well,
Can we just leave the semaphore?
No.
'Cause-
you know what happens, don't you?
What?
Yeah, but amongst my own people.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
I'll tell you what, there's another category in these organisers, and that is the opportunistic organisers. They sound like absolute nightmares.
Yeah.
They sound like control freaks. They sound a little bit cray-cray, if I'm honest.
So these people exit, they tidy other people's houses.
Yeah.
So-
Outrageous.
Well, you know people like that, don't you?
I do.
Awful people.
There's our cleaner for a start off.
Well, maybe that's a good job for those people.
Yeah.
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 And they like to rearrange things.
Yeah.
And they rearrange cupboards at work, it says.
Gotta say, my mother-in-law she likes to reorganise the kitchen.
Does she?
Yeah, so you go and get, you reach.
She likes to leave it so it's clean.
You reach for the ketchup and it's in a new drawer. It's all
The
right.
ketchup drawer.
It's all right.
Interesting.
I remember a woman years ago. I mean, probably 40 years ago.
Oh, God,
Yeah.
I hate this period of your life.
Got in touch with
Makes me
Radio
feel sick.
Radio 1. It's something like the Johnny Walker show or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And she said, "This is good. This is a texting and a half from 40 years ago." And she said that she was not able to mix knives, forks, and spoons in the same section because she couldn't shrug off the idea that when she was in bed at night they would squabble.
What, you mean she needed to have the divider?
Yeah, she needed
Yeah.
the divider just for
Oh.
the sake of crowd control.
Me too.
Segregation.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't know then. Different
No.
times.
They were.
We didn't eat the fruit. but we were reliving it in our own kitchen drawer. How ironic.
Indeed.
So yeah, the souvenir, the one souvenir which sticks in my mind is I played in '96. I played.
Oh, it's a massive year for you.
I played softball,
Oh, yeah.
celebrity softball in Veteran Stadium, Philadelphia.
This is one of those stories that when you first told me about it, I thought it was a dream or
No,
some
no,
weird
no,
No, I
improv
thought it was
that
one of
you
his
were doing.
lies. You know, when he
Yeah,
tells
yeah.
those weird lies.
I'll tell you who was in the team.
Go on.
Should I tell you who the captain was? I will.
Was it Nicky Clark?
Bill Cosby was the captain, and
Different times.
But we didn't know. We didn't know. And
And he was a
Turn the heating
worldwide
down a bit,
treasure. He was
everyone.
a worldwide treasure
Yeah,
then.
turn the heating down.
John Grisham played.
Wow.
Ron Howard,
Wow.
Meatloaf.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Yeah, exactly. And as Adam Sandler pointed out, Chubby Checker was a no-show.
This is possibly your most name-droppy story. I love it.
Anyway, they gave me
At least it wasn't Chuck Berry.
A baseball bat that had my name carved into it. I mean, carved quite deep into it, like an inch. Like, you know, the Superman letters, as I like to think of them.
Yeah.
So I've still got that.
Great.
Really?
I've often thought, if I ever beat a burglar to death with it, the evidence against me would be immense.
It'd be right in those grooves.
Just have my name all over it.
Yeah.
or her. I'm not being sexist. I'm not saying they can't climb the.
Well, Frank, I've got the cricket bat with Stuart Broad's name carved quite deeply.
Okay.
Lovely.
So, you know, Broadie's going to go down for it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Was that his promise?
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
I say. Go on, carry on.
I was going to say, we haven't actually got loads of clutter, but we've got a cellar in our house that we're about to get converted into hatred from our neighbours. You know, when you get the
doing
cellar,
one of those?
yeah.
You'll be one of those.
No, it's not. We're not digging in. We're just getting it lined and turned into,
not
usable
a super
rooms.
basement.
Not
Yeah.
a super
Will
basement.
it have a pool table and that?
No, I don't.
Will it
think
have a swimming
so.
pool?
No, I don't think so.
Well,
I don't think so.
My manager's got an underground swimming pool.
Cool,
Yeah.
Okay.
cool guy.
Neighbours love him.
Yeah, I'll bet. But I had to lift all the stuff, like, because we've got loads of junk in the cellar. I had to move it all upstairs, either to the top floor of our house or down the street and into the cellar of a neighbour who has
Did
kindly
you tell them?
donated some storage to
They
us.
have no idea.
But I
Yeah.
did that
It's
for
like that woman that lived under George Michael.
Yeah.
Stacking up stuff and I had no
I
idea.
did that for a whole day, just moving boxes and camping gear and tons of stuff up and downstairs.
Yeah.
And my knees crunch. I don't know if that's normal. Do other people's
Well, I
knees
think
crunch on
that's-
stairways?
That comes from the Marshalls.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, does it? Yeah.
But by the end of the day, oh man, my knees had crunched that much. I actually had tinnitus, let alone sore knees. I had
Oh, from the noise.
oh man, it was
terrible.
a right racket.
I think you might be a heartfelt hoarder.
No,
Yeah.
no, it's just, it's just life. Just having, a cellar full of stuff, papers and camping gear. And by the end of the day, I actually hated gravity. I was
People who were there
leaving
against their will.
Oh, well, I've
Really
gone
hated
off gravity.
It's up and down, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yes,
feelings.
mainly down. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Yeah.
I think. If we're going to talk about a general trend,
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Trend is
pay
downward.
someone to fight it for me.
good on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Good on you.
Thank you.
Good luck with that.
Thank you.
I've lost. I've given up. Honestly,
You haven't.
I am.
Your regime as well.
Really?
I'm tucking in the sock at the moment. Anyway, look, it's been lovely. It's been lovely as ever, sharing with you all. And Sarah Champion is up next.
Yeah.
Go on, girl.
Nice.
Go on, girl.
Go on, girl.
This is what they need motivation, the people that work here. I keep telling the management that. Leave it to me, Mr. Motivator.
You're
Don't
always
leave it to
suggesting
him.
that team bonding weekend and stuff.
I
aren't
know,
you?
and also to sing the Absolute song every morning before we start work. We love to come to Absolute. You know that song?
Yeah.
The receptionists are rather cute.
I don't like that version.
Yeah, it's lovely.
A little bit
Yeah.
70s.
We never know what'll happen next, but we laugh 'cause it's 50 pence a text. You must know. It's much loved. Anyway, look, bring on the feathers.
You're listening to the Frank Skinner podcast from Absolute Radio. Want your Frank fix a little sooner? Listen live every Saturday from 8 a.m. on Absolute Radio. Across the UK on digital radio, mobile apps, and in London and the South East on 105.8 FM.
Absolute Radio.